Welcome to lesson 1 of image manipulation. Today's lesson, what I'm going to do is just give you a quick introduction to Adobe Photoshop. Adobe Photoshop, made by the company Adobe, came out I think in the 80s, and it really revolutionized digital image manipulation. And one of the main reasons that that was the case was the fact that you could do this thing. You had this thing called layers, and layers is where you can put things on top of each other and then manipulate them and relayer them. So if you think about it, if you have the clothes you're on, if you've got a jacket and you've got a shirt underneath, for example, then the top layer is obviously the jacket, so you can see most of that, and then the shirt underneath would be that layer. But you could actually, on Photoshop, you could switch those around, so the shirt would be above the jacket, so to speak. Okay, so that's just my way of explaining it. Right, with Photoshop, what you do get here is a tool set on the left. Now this is Adobe Photoshop CS4. It's not the latest version, but a lot of the things that you get here you get on the later versions like CS6 or even Creative Cloud. What you can see here on the menu is that you have your selection tool, then you've got a whole other set of tools. Now the main ones that you've got to look at is, for the moment, is that every tool here that's got a little arrow on the bottom right corner, that is indicating that there's more tools behind it. So you can see you've got your Marquee tool, okay, which is like to make sort of rectangular selections or sort of round selections and so on. You've got lasso tools for doing quite fine selections. We'll probably use that very soon. You've got a magic wand. You've got crop tools, slice tool as well, eyedropper, color sampler, ruler tool, and different things. Okay, so there's lots of different tools here. When you roll over them, quite often it comes up with what that is, and you can see I've got this one selected, which has a little black dot beside it. Okay, so that's the main tools that you have. There's the font one here. You've also got a path selection tool. That's related to if you've drawn some paths here. You can draw some basic shapes, so rectangle, rounded rectangle, ellipse, polygon, line, and a custom shape tool as well. And then after that, well, you do have some stuff here for doing 3D, but we're not really going to look at that. You've got this hand tool. It's very useful, but we can probably use that just using the spacebar. Magnifier as well. And then at the very bottom here you have a color palette. And this color palette, you can switch it around. So you have a foreground. The foreground is now white, and there's a kind of purple color. And you can switch them between each other, like so. Okay. Along the top, you've got your usual, file, edit, image, layer, select, filters, which is quite good to use, and you've even got a whole 3D panel on this version of Photoshop. Now the other main tools that you will need to use is probably this one, which is your history. Okay, now what the history does is it lets you go back a few steps, well, quite a few steps, and it depends on how much memory you've got in the computer or how much memory you allocate in Photoshop, because you can then sort of go back a lot of steps. So it's like undoing things. Okay, and this is how you would undo by going to the history. Then you've got colors, swatches, styles. Under here you've got adjustments and mask layer. We don't need to look at that for the moment. The main one down here would be to look at this layers panel. This layers panel is very important, so that you can actually manipulate different images on the same canvas. So we'll look a lot into that when we start working with Photoshop. And that's the main Photoshop template. Whenever you do Control N, you can bring up a new document. Now, when you bring up a new document, you've got presets such as US paper, international paper, things for the web, mobile devices, film, video, and so on. If you do international paper, you can see that international paper lets you do the very common, A3, A4, A5, A6, and so on. Okay. all of those will then give you the exact measurement, so you can see that's given us that in height. The height of that would be, so it's a long ways in portrait. Okay. Now, the other thing that you can do is obviously if you do want to manipulate the size of your canvas differently, you can do it in pixels, inches, centimeters, millimeters, points, because and columns. Okay, so you can do quite a lot of. The usual one that you will do would be either centimeters, millimeters, or pixels. That's the most common one we would probably do. Now, the resolution is in pixels per inch, and you can see here it's set to 300. Now, the reason it's set to 300 in my example here is 300 is for printing. Okay, so let's say you were doing something you were doing an image that you were going to put on the internet for a website, then you probably would bring that resolution down to maybe 72 pixels per inch. Okay, because you don't need that much when you're displaying it on a screen. But if you were doing it for professional printing, then the minimum would be 300 pixels per inch. Okay. The other things that we've got is obviously for the color modes. Color mode here, same again for printing. At the minute set RGB, so that would be for on screen mostly. But then you would have CMYK color mode, which is for printing, because printers use 4 different base ink cartridges. So it's a cyan, magenta, yellow, and the last one I think is black. Okay, that's about it. And you can see it gives you an image size of what this is pretty much going to be in terms of that. Okay, I'm just going to cancel that. And what I'm going to do is we'll look at the next lesson. Okay, so that's your basic introduction. Thank you for watching.